Every time I read that story of the dogs under the table, it kind of hits me, makes me pause for a minute. Today was no different. And as I began thinking that Jesus made a choice that day, and he made a choice that made all the difference in the world. Does he send the Canaanite woman away? Does he listen to those shouting disciples? Does he ignore her as one outside the fold, as his tradition told him? Or does he hear her cry and help her? I wonder in that instance if Jesus really realized and grasped the effect his choice would make. Had he listened to the disciples and their shouting voices, had he stuck to his traditional ways and understanding that the Messiah was only for the lost sheep of Israel, would we even be sitting here worshiping today? Would the Jesus movement have become some small sect of Jewish Christians, people in the first century just following Jesus among the Jews, like those other groups, the Pharisees and the Sadducees, other Jewish sects? That encounter that Jesus had, that decision he made to hear her, shifted the whole story. It shifted the whole direction of his mission and ministry. The Canaanites were the others, the non-Israelites. They had a long history of conflict. They lived across the Jordan River. They were pagan. They were unclean. They were not like us, the Israelites would say. Those other people, those ones that aren't like us. She was loud. She was shouting. She was offensive to them, offensive and disruptive, disrupting their civil order, disrupting their religious order, disrupting their ways. She's not following the ways that others expect her to follow. And yet it wasn't just Jesus that day that made a choice. The Canaanite woman made a choice. She made a choice that day that made a difference in the world. She put herself out there to be ridiculed, out there to be mocked, out there to be ignored, out there to be seen as a dog by the Israelites. She put herself out there because she had heard about this man, Jesus. She had heard about this man, Jesus, who she called Lord, Son of David, the Messiah. She had heard about this man, Jesus, that could heal, that could save people. In the end, love brought her to that choice. It was love for her daughter. And I want to say love from God. It was love that was deep inside of her that day, that enlivened her faith. And that faith caused her to come out. It was love that gave her the courage to come to Jesus. It was love that helped her believe that she deserved to be there, deserved to be heard, deserved to be seen, just like everyone else. And it was love that saw her that day. It was love that said, "Woman, great is your faith. Let it be done unto you as you wish." It was love that healed her that day. It's easy to think that our choices don't have consequences. How could some small decision make all the difference in the world? But look at the story of Joseph and his brothers, that decisions his brothers made to leave Joseph dead in that pit. That set off a chain reaction that led to this moment of love and forgiveness that we heard about, when Joseph saves his family and his people from famine. I love stories. I'm a literary person. Writers often tell about this kind of chain reaction. There's a movie called Sliding Doors, which tells of a woman who misses a train one day, and her whole life is changed by that one instance of missing the train. If you've ever seen the movie Benjamin Button or read the book by F. Scott Fitzgerald, He tells of a chain of events when a car accident causes a dancer to be hit by the car, and her career in the dancing is forever changed by this chain reaction of what happened one morning when someone went off in their car. And there's that wonderful Robert Frost poem, The Road Not Taken. It ends with, I took the road less traveled, and it made all the difference. And the Anglican poet John Donne, no man is an island. No man is an island entirely unto itself. Every man is a part of the continent, a part of the main. Our choices connect us with each other. Sometimes it's easy to fool ourselves to believing that our choices of words or actions do not have consequences for ourselves or for others. That somehow we can live isolated in a way that what we say or do does not really touch other people. But Jesus will not let us get off so easily. Jesus has a way of doing that, not letting us get off so easily. It's that talk with the Pharisees when he's talking about defiling speech, when he's trying to help people understand that speech and actions do have consequences. They do touch others. The matters of our heart are revealed in our words and our actions. The connection between what lies within the heart and what comes out of our mouths is very direct. If you want to know what someone's heart is speaking, listen to their words, listen to what they are saying. It's one thing to hear some foul and hurtful words. It's another thing to understand that that comes from someone's heart. This is the damaging piece. It's not the words alone. It's the fact that the words connect us to someone's heart. This is why Jesus is saying, what comes out of the mouth proceeds from the heart. This is what defiles. So what are we to do? Who can say and see the full consequences of our choices, of our words and our actions? I don't think we can. That is God's work. Could Joseph have even imagined one day he would be there saving his brothers and forgiving his brothers from famine? Could that Canaanite woman ever even have begun to imagine that her action of coming out to Jesus would change the course of his mission? Could Paul ever imagine that we, this community, this church, would be gathered like those first century churches, but we would be gathering virtually over a computer? Who could have imagined that that first step that Paul took could lead to this church experience? I think the best we can do is to speak and act with good and faithful intentions. It is these good and faithful intentions that become like stones that are dropped in a river that the current takes away. These are from the words of the singer-songwriter Carrie Newcomer as she sings. So today we'll drop stones into the river, and the current will take them away forever. And the truth is that most of us will never know where they go, where our best intentions go, and still we will drop stones into the river. So let those stones be kind words to one another, words of forgiveness. Let the stones be a listening ear to one who might offend our sensibilities, like that Canaanite woman. Let those stones be the giving of food, as Sylvia was just mentioning, taking the food out, giving of care of our time, our money. And let those stones at this time when so many of us in our own hearts are suffering be some grace for ourselves, be some grace and forgiveness for ourselves when our days don't look like what they expect to be. when we don't feel the energy and life that we expect ourselves to feel at this time. Let those stones be like that, stones of love, not only for each other and those closest to us, but for ourselves. So let us drop stones of love, and with God's help, they will be carried to people and places far from our imagination. Amen.